So a lot of the questions I've had and a lot of the emails I've had will be, well, what will my week look like? What are the changes in terms of being on campus? Again, in this video, I want it to be as honest as possible. We're moving at a very fast pace in terms of Welsh Government policy and provision. And there are clearly going to be restrictions on how many students can be on campus, which will clearly impact how we can deliver our face-to-face provision. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do here is give you an idea of what your week will look like per module. Okay, and again, this will only focus on term one at this stage, because with all the greatest will in the world, we don't know what's going to happen after Christmas. We don't know how the current situation will change and evolve. Okay, so I'm trying to give you as much information I can, but I won't be giving you information on what your weeks will look like in term two. Okay, so global and comparative education. As I said to you before, Cardiff Met weeks 11 to 14. Have a look at the academic calendar to know exactly what dates that will start on and finish. Your module for leader for this is Paul Brooks. Now, this is what he is envisaging, the week to look like. Okay, so Monday will be your online day. Okay, so it will be a contact day. You will have online lectures and you will have online seminars. Okay, Tuesday is going to be your independent study task day. That's a non-contact day, but there might be things for you to prepare and work on. Now, this is where the change comes in slightly. Now, what we've got clear restrictions on how many students can be on campus. So what the timetabling department have worked hard at is looking at when you guys can come onto campus. Okay, so what we're looking at is each group to have one kind of session per week on campus, and that session not being 1 hour, that session being at least a 2-hour session of on-campus face-to-face provision. I've put in as much detail as I can here. So 3.6, your face-to-face on-campus provision for this module will be Wednesday afternoon. 3.9, your face-to-face provision will be Wednesday morning. Thursday, 3.7, you'll be in the morning. 3.8, you'll be in the afternoon. And Welsh medium, you'll also be Thursday morning. Okay, so your face-to-face provision will happen over Wednesday and Thursday for this module, depending on which group you are. Okay, so clearly 3.7 and 3.8, Wednesday will be a non-contact day for you. Vice versa, 3.6 and 3.9, Thursday will be a non-contact day for you. To finish the week then, Friday will be a self-directed study non-contact day. Okay, so Paul has worked hard to come up with this structure. And this is hopefully will give you an idea, especially for the first 3 weeks, what your kind of week will look like for this particular module. And I hope that helps for those students that are now starting to think about childcare and kind of planning out your weeks over the next few weeks. Stop going the wrong way, Kieran. Okay. Your second module in your second block is subject knowledge in the primary curriculum. Okay, that will take place in weeks 14 to 16. It's the academic calendar in terms of the dates for that. Now, we're currently reviewing this module, and I will update you as soon as I can. We don't have as much detail for this because obviously some staff are teaching in block 1 first and been asked to prioritise that. But what we will look to do is retain Tuesday and Friday as your non-contact days. Okay, so for those people planning childcare, what we're trying to do is really trying hard to ensure a consistency in your timetable. So you can take it from me that Tuesday and Friday will be your non-contact days for that module as well. And as I said, I'll get as much more detail for you on that module as soon as I can, probably in the next video. Which will take place in maybe a couple of weeks' time. Okay. Your third module in the third block, sorry, CMU weeks 17 to 20 is hopefully going to follow pretty much exactly the same structure as global. I've had some good conversations with Shan, and she's planning something similar. Online day, study task day, some face-to-face provision followed by a self-directed study. Okay, so again, Tuesday and Friday being those kind of non-contact days. Yes, you've got some independent study tasks to do, but ultimately you won't need to be in front of a computer. You won't need to be on campus for those sessions, for those days. Okay, so yes, there are changes. Yes, it looks very different to what your weeks will look like or have looked like. But what we've tried to do is embed as much consistency as possible within that. As I said to you before, term 2, we're not necessarily sure about how your weeks will look. There might be some alterations in terms of that for term 2. All right, but what we'll try and do, and what I'm trying to do, is to ensure that you guys, at least your face-to-face provision, if we're in exactly the same position, we can only have one day on campus per group, that I'll try and retain that face-to-face provision in those same slots. Okay, so that's where we are with term 2. Okay, so what next? What are the next steps? As I said, I'm going to try and do a few of these, at least one more before the start of term, because I think they're useful, and I think they also can give you a little bit more detail than maybe what an email can. So next steps, timetables will start to be confirmed. Okay, so we'll start to give you get your timetables onto the timetabling system, and it will kind of reflect what I've just gone through there. What we're working hard to do is get your assessment schedules up to date. One of the things that the student reps fed back on was them wanting to know the assessment schedule and when assessments come in blocks. So we're going to look at that and get that to you, get over to you as soon as we can. And like I say, I'll be recording another one of these with updates probably in a couple of weeks' time. In the meantime, what I'd like you to do, as opposed to sending me responses and questions, and I know you've probably got quite a few questions on the back of this, I would like you to access your student reps. Sorry, guys. And there's the list of names there. So we've got Daniel, Leah, Xander, and Jack. Jack's representing Welsh Medium. If you've got any questions, can you fire them over to them? And if you guys can kind of collate them, we'll have a meeting over the next couple of weeks or so. And maybe I can incorporate that into a bit of a Q&A recorded session. So I hope that was helpful. I think I've stuck to 20 minutes, so a little bit over. I hope it was helpful. I hope it gives you a bit more of an idea around what your academic year will look like. Like I said, use this time now to prepare, but also use this time to kind of get ready for the new year. You know what your first module is. You've been given some reading for that, so get into that as much as possible. Okay, and I will catch you guys in a couple of weeks for my next recording. Cheers.